Alright, I wanted to do this video to compare two of my smallest tactical flashlights, and I've got here on the left my Warrior Nano, Olight Warrior Nano, and on the right I've got my Nextorch TA20. So you can see they are quite different in appearance, and they have some various different functionalities, the way that you use them as well. So I'll go through and help you decide which one of these is best for you if you're deciding on getting one of them. So in terms of overall construction, I really find it difficult to fault either of these. They have some different anodizing. You can see in the Warrior Nano, it's a little bit more shiny, whereas with Nextorch, they tend to go with a more matte black finish, and I actually prefer the finish on the Nextorch TA20 because one, it's grippier, and it's also just more low-key. There's less reflections and things like that on it, whereas with the Warrior Nano, you know, you've got a bit more of this sort of slippery feeling. But what Olight do is that they've put this really grippy knurling on it so that you kind of compensates for that. The machining is excellent on both of these flashlights. I mean, you basically can't see any nicks or burrs, you know, any imperfections at all. Bring this one up close. That's the TA20. I mean, look at that. Got the Olight here. Okay. Warrior Nano. So, yeah, in terms of overall construction, I'd say that they're quite similar. If you look down the bezel of the flashlights as well, there's some significant differences. You know, with Nextorch, I think they tend to make some more serious tactical flashlights, in my opinion, because they've just got a little bit more of these additional functions. They've got these 3 tactical beads here, so if you need to break a window, use it as a striking weapon or something like that, you've got that ability. It's got a titanium bezel as well, but with the Olight Warrior Nano, you've basically just got this smooth down bezel. You can probably still break a window with it, but I'm not sure what it's made out of. It may, I mean, to me it feels just like aluminium, okay, and it is anodized as well. So I'm pretty sure it is, pretty sure it's aluminium instead of stainless steel. Okay, now looking at the bezels as well, you can see with the TA20, much larger bezel, okay, and reflector in there. And reflector versus the TIR lens, I do find that you get a bit more throw out of this one, the TA20. It's just got a larger reflector, so it's able to throw that beam for a bit further. And in terms of the LEDs, now, Nextorch are using an Osram P9, and I'm pretty sure that Olight are using the same LED in there as well. Like if I look at them both, they look very, very similar. It's just that Olight don't disclose what LED they actually use. Clip, you've got a double-sided clip on the Warrior Nano, so this one can be clipped onto your hat, and also just facing down in your pocket as well, whereas the TA20, you basically got this clip that's included, but that faces down. You still have access to the top part of the tail switch and the battery tube, so you can pull that out of your pocket quite easily. A really cool thing as well is that Nextorch also have this accessory here. It's the FR2 ring, so you can attach that to your TA20 and have much easier access to the light. If you have it in your pocket, you need to access it very quickly. And basically have a better grip of it. You don't have that ability to do the same thing with the Warrior Nano. So here's the interesting thing. You would think that with the Olight Nano being smaller, it'd have a smaller battery, but that's not true at all. You've got the 1100 milliamp hour cell, 18350 with the Warrior Nano, but Nextorch here have the 16340 cell, 800 milliamp hours, so 300 less. But the advantage of this form factor is that the TA20 also takes primary cells, so CR123 cells, whereas the Olight does not accept any other cell but this proprietary 18350 that you get with it. Which brings me to charging. Olight does include a proprietary magnetic charger that you need to use in order to charge it, whereas the TA20, you just charge the battery separately, so you unscrew it, and there's a little USB port on the battery. And of course, if you're using primary cells as well, there's no issue there. Another huge difference that you'll find with the TA20 and the Warrior Nano is the UI. So with the TA20, you've got these 3 modes here. You can lock it. Tactical mode, which allows you, there's only one button, so you press that button on the back. Half press gives you turbo, full press gives you strobe. Okay, so it's almost like when you have that in that panic situation, you mash that button, you pretty much get access to that strobe immediately. Duty mode here basically allows you to cycle between these different modes, so low, medium, high, and strobe. Okay, but again, if you're pressing all the way down, you're pretty much getting that highest mode that you get on tactical, okay, on that half press. So yeah, duty mode allows you access to some of those lower modes. I tend to just keep it in tactical mode. There's a bit of decent amount of resistance as well when you're moving the top part of this light, okay, to sort of select between the 3 modes. But it's a very simple UI, and there's not all too many functions in there. The Warrior Nano, however, has quite an interesting UI. So you can access the light from the side switch. So you can press and hold to get a nice little moonlight mode, cycle through low, medium, and high. Okay, double press for turbo at any stage. And the tail switch is interesting because you half press to get access to a constant on medium. Full press quickly to get access to the turbo mode. But here's the interesting thing: if you press and press lightly and hold to get access to that medium mode, it allows you to get access to that momentary. So you can also fully press like that all the way down. You've got momentary access to turbo. If you're just using the tail switch, no issues. But if you're using this side switch here, you can also get away with using this light as a general EDC flashlight. Whereas if you're if you're in security, law enforcement, that kind of thing, I definitely recommend the TA20 over the Warrior Nano, just because it's going to be more reliable if you need to charge it, if you need to carry around additional spare CR123 cells. No issues there. The UI is very simple as well. So, I mean, just 2 mode UI for tactical mode, or if you've got duty mode, access to about four modes in there, which is pretty simple. You've also got that sort of this ruggedness that you get. It just feels a lot more robust than the Warrior Nano, especially, with this glass breaking, these 3 ceramic glass breaking beads of titanium bezel in there. You've got this tactile ring if you choose to purchase one with it as well. It's just a lot more robust. And if obviously with the Olight though, you do have those additional functions. So if you're just someone, casual user that just wants some tactile functionality with that light as well, or if you're in law enforcement, you can use this one as well. But just keep in mind, it does not have the additional functions. Will not take primaries, which can be an issue for some of you. So anyway, let's go straight to the beam shots, and you'll be able to see how these both compare to one another. TA20 to the left and the Warrior Nano to the right. Okay, TA20, Warrior Nano, TA20, Warrior Nano. And straight off the bat, you can see here with the TA20, it's able to reach those trees out the back with a lot more ease, just due to that larger reflector compared to the Warrior Nano. Okay, I do find that the Warrior Nano also has some additional spill. Okay, definitely a lot more spill closer up compared to the TA20. Can you see that? Look, you can see the edges of the TA20, and that's because the TA20 has a larger reflector, focusing a lot of that light up into the distance, whereas the Warrior Nano basically just has a small TIR lens in it. But look at that, you still get a nice large hotspot. So it's really hard to say exactly which one I prefer to hold on. I mean, it just depends on whether you want that extra throw, a little bit extra throw. See, look at that TA20 Warrior Nano. Definitely throws noticeably further. But the TA20 is probably the more balanced beam, You know, you can see more into your peripherals. It distributes that light more evenly, but still with a very large hotspot. But I'd say the Warrior Nano is more to sort of short to medium range. Okay, short to medium range, whereas the TA20 is handling that mid-range mark very comfortably. Both of them are starting to step down now, especially the Warrior Nano. Okay, TA20, Warrior Nano, TA20, Warrior Nano.